Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. I recently came up with a good social media handle for me. It would be Truth or Darian.
That's so good!
Thank you. What's it for?
Yeah.
Nothing. Because I also just have Darian Smart on all the things, which also feels like the better thing to have when you don't have a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, whatever comes up next after Twitter, you can make...
that, I'll just be that. Great, wonderful. Maybe Mastodon?
Yeah, I'm thinking about making my handles DJ the Muse because I think it'd be fun.
Oh, it's so charming. I love that.
That's good.
Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become modern pop culture. This week, we continue our journey through Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians with Story 48, Ariadne. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darian Smart. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? I'm the Muse of the Forgotten. You know, those characters that you've used once or twice and then just kind of tossed away a little bit. Yeah, I'm the Muse of that. They remember, and they want to be used again.
Ooh,
Please bring
I
them
like
back.
that. That's scary. That's just a little existential, DJ. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I think I need to ponder on that a little bit. Let's see what's showing at the theater. All right, DJ, we are continuing our journey through stories that are related to the Labyrinth, and this week we are not alone.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Oh, there's the voice. There it is.
Oh, wow.
Something.
You can hear that glorious voice. It belongs to one Quinn Albert, who is one half of the Monsterous Woman Podcast. Quinn, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm doing a podcast right now. How are you?
I'm doing good. I love your Danny Phantom shirt.
Oh my god, thank you so much. I got it on clearance for half off, so it was a steal.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, even better. I always love it.
Even better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Quinn, tell if somehow our listeners don't know who you are, which would be wild, but on the off chance, would like to tell them a little bit about yourself and maybe your Rhineverse affiliations.
Yeah. So, my name is Quinn. I host the Monsterous Woman Podcast, where we talk about women who are, female. It's so many avenues that we talk about. We talk about all the things, but we talk about the portrayal of women in media, basically, and how a lot of them are portrayed as monsters. So we did have a series on Greek mythology. That was our opening series where we talked about Persephone, which is related to the subject of this episode. So that's why I'm sort of here. Woohoo.
Yes.
Nice.
And before I hosted the Monsterous Woman podcast, I hosted a Percy Jackson podcast because who doesn't love Percy Jackson?
We all do.
I feel like in all of the 5 million Percy Jackson related quizzes I've taken, I always end up in Poseidon. And I'm not sure how I feel about that though. But that's how I always feel about the Harry Potter houses and stuff. I was always a Slytherin. Eventually I came to love that. But
Poseidon is still a little on the rocks.
Yes. I like the vibes of Poseidon though. I feel akin.
I feel like mostly good. Can turn, but such is the way of the ocean.
Stormy seas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Quinn, I have a tiny little embarrassing confession to make. Here's a story I've never told. When DJ and I were first thinking about doing a Percy Jackson podcast specifically, we were like, well, we'll go chapter by chapter talking about the books. That's a fun thing to do. And I'm like, well, what are some other podcasts that have done this? And I Googled Percy Jackson podcast, and Floor 600 was the very first one that came up.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was
worked
like,
so hard
and I was
for
like, that's
being the first one to pop up.
That SEO is incredible. Well done. This was early 2020, so but yeah, I was like way back to DJ, and I'm like, mid 2020 actually. It was after I quit my job. So but I went back. I'm like, okay, there's literally another podcast that has done this, and I'm sure many others. So let's twist it a little bit. What if we really focused on the myths rather than the chapter by chapter? And so Quinn, thank you so much for accidentally helping us find our avenue.
Yes, I'm glad.
Thanks for doing it first, so we didn't copy you.
There were some people before us. I gotta say, some people didn't get past chapter 5, so we were like, we have to go
the entire Percy Jackson book. So
exactly,
that's the
exactly.
thing.
That was the goal.
Let's get right into it. Usually I make DJ do this, but we have a guest. So Quinn, do you want to tell us the extremely little bit there is about Ariadne in the Percy Jackson books specifically?
Okay, so this is going to be rough because I feel even though I did reread them as far back as 2020, it's been a year or two.
That's fair. That's fine.
So Ariadne in the books is the wife of Dionysus, and I don't think she's ever shown, is she?
She is.
One time?
One time.
She
One
is.
time.
That's really tragic. I
missed it entirely because they don't say her name.
Oh my god, that's why I missed it.
No, Owen had to tell me because I was like, Ariadne's not even in this. And he's like, oh no, she appears in the scene at the end of Titan's Curse when they're at the party on Olympus and Dionysus is there and Percy's like, there's a pretty woman on his arm and he looks so happy. And I'm just like, I was going to wait till later. Hey, Rick.
That's also the book that he learned about Ariadne in, first of all.
Yeah, because
he learned about Ariadne at the start of that book.
Yeah, at the beginning, Dionysus is like, fuck heroes. My wife got screwed over by a hero. I don't like any of you. Okay. No mention of Ariadne. Her name is not spoken. Percy sees her and doesn't even think, oh, that must be Ariadne. Like, why would you just
should have
say
at
her
least
name?
done that.
No, but it is so...
That's really bad. I'm
it's
mad at
really
Rick
upsetting.
for that.
Yeah.
That's a major flaw.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's not even like a myth thing that he's stuck with or some like weird character thing that I don't like, but I understand this is your character, so what you're No, this is just like as a writer, I don't like that as a decision and I disagree with it wholeheartedly. Like how you wrote this, I don't just say her name. Damn, it's the one time we saw her.
Yeah, because
I
go Dionysus being angry about the treatment of Ariadne in the Percy Jackson books is amazing. But the fact that he doesn't say... Wait, so does Dionysus not even say Ariadne's name? Or just calls him my wife?
I'm trying to remember whether he says Ariadne's name when he's telling Percy the story or if he just says my wife and keeps it kind of vague. I don't know.
Pretty sure he does.
Okay, I hope he does.
They're on the downstairs. The Percy Jackson books on the downstairs bookshelf, the place of honor bookshelf, where guests can see them. So I only have the Labyrinth in here. But yeah, so that's what's baffling is she is mentioned. In this one, she's also mentioned. We don't see her though.
No,
but Theseus gets to show up.
Yeah.
I'll save my anger for the next episode.
No. Be angry at Theseus. He deserves it. Always.
He deserves it.
Yeah, and then the string. Ariadne's string being a really big thing in Battle of the Labyrinth. We need that string. It's basically a magical object. I love that her whole existence is boiled down to a string.
That string gets more screen time than she does.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. I think we can all agree. Don't love that.
Yeah.
I had this written down. I wasn't sure whether I want to talk about it later. Now let's talk about it now. Usually we don't talk too much about stuff like, oh, the books did this, X, Y. Why didn't anyone ever one time try to be like, should we talk to Ariadne about how to navigate the labyrinth? Anyone? Even as a passing thought? One time?
That'd be having to talk to Dionysus about that, and that's just not going to fly.
Maybe in Rick's mind, Ariadne just doesn't leave Olympus.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good chance for that, too.
No, yeah.
Because she's a mortal who was made immortal. Maybe there's, rules that you can't leave there.
I would buy that.
I don't like those rules, but...
No, I don't like it.
They're not voiced, so... they're made up rules by the readers.
mean, at the very least, we could have, like, tossed an offering to her at, like, dinner time, being like, hey, Ariadne, we're about to go in the labyrinth.
Yeah.
If you could help us out, that'd be super rad. Like, just a little passing thought on the woman who is the string, which is, like,
She
All right,
ties it all together.
It's about her. It's her thing. We could have gone to her and been like, can we get another one? Like, even if it's framed as Percy has a stupid idea, can we ask Ariadne for another one? I would still just appreciate her being more than... You met her, Percy, kinda. You're in the room with her. You could... But it's
Again, that involves
perplexing.
talking to Dionysus.
For me, just sort of, it is utterly perplexing. And yet, I feel like is very accurate to the role Ariadne played in the myths.
Yeah. She's just there.
Shall we?
She's a tool.
She's just there. She is like...
She's a forgotten character.
Yes, she very, very much. I believe in my notes.
Especially by Theseus.
Fuck Theseus, God damn it. So diving in this, I really wanted to be like, because we have Theseus is in a separate episode. This dude, and this is Ariadne gets an episode before him.
Good.
For reasons that satisfy me.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, no Theseus, we'll avoid that. Just really focus on Ariadne. And I learned very quickly that is a tad bit difficult because unlike, say, a Circe or a Medea, Ariadne is just 100% solely defined by her relationship to men, which is often for female characters. Penelope gets this, but you could also have Penelope. She actually literally does things outside of when Odysseus is there and has things and decisions she makes. Like, I don't even think we have a quote where Ariadne ever actually says anything.
Nope.
Other
I
than,
wouldn't doubt it.
I'll help you get through the labyrinth if you marry me. Theseus, who I fell in love with at first sight. Which, fine. That's fine. Whatever. But it was really frustrating to me to find this one thing. Like, okay, we're going to talk Ariadne, and just find you aren't allowed to do that. Her myth has two parts. It's the Theseus part and the Dionysus part, and those parts meet in the middle when Theseus abandons her on an island.
Yeah. I sent you a page of one of the books that I like. It's called Heroes. It's written by Stephen Fry. But I sort of love his retellings because I feel like most of the characters are just himbos. And that goes for Ariadne. That goes for Theseus. That goes for the Minotaur. Everybody's
Fabulous.
a himbo. And it's amazing. And it makes their sort of love at first sight thing like work almost. It's like, okay. It's like, okay, yeah, this works. And then it makes his immediate reversal sort of work as well, because it's like, oh, he's just following the thing that he dreamed about. He's a stupid guy.
I love that passage. Would you like to read that?
Let me flip to it. And this is like at the end of his, like when he's talking about why Theseus left Ariadne. And in his retelling, Theseus gets a dream that Dionysus comes to him in a dream and says, leave the island. And at the same time, he comes to all of the sailors and the boat captain and stuff, everybody except for Ariadne. And then so all these men wake up and they're like, I've had a bad dream about Dionysus, and he said to leave the island and leave Ariadne. So they all leave, and then as they leave, they see Dionysus is coming. So then at the end of that, so like he's sort of saying like, okay, dreams. Here's this passage. That, at least, is the Athenian explanation of the abandonment of Ariadne on Naxos. Other versions maintain that Theseus left her on the island because he had no more use for her. She had served her purpose and could be dispensed with. In some Cretan tellings, Dionysus duly arrived in force on Naxos, marry Ariadne, raising her wedding diadem to the heavens as the constellation Corona Borealis. Had at least 12 children by her and rewarded her after her death by rescuing her from Hades along with her own mother, Semele, and they all lived happily ever after on Olympus. It is hard for us to like a Theseus who could cold-heartedly abandon the girl who had been so instrumental in saving him and his companions, and doubtless that is why the Athenian version of the story lays emphasis on the hard choice that faced him, and even goes as far as to suggest that Ariadne was already in some way engaged to Dionysus when she first met Theseus, thus throwing all the blame on her. The Athenians didn't like to hear anything that showed their favorite hero in a bad light. So that was the end of that passage. Love Stephen Fry.
I'm excited. I want that. So I think it's the thing about Theseus. God, okay, wasn't going to talk about Theseus, but just it is important. The whole the Athenians don't want to hear anything bad about the hero.
Yeah, that's the important part of that.
He was the hero. It's like Spider-Man is
like
to
every
Queens.
culture, right? You don't want to hear anything bad about the hero. It's every culture has that.
Yeah, but it's not just the hero. Like he wasn't just Perseus or Hercules. Theseus was the Athenian hero. He was their guy personally. Yeah. And that plays into the reason that Theseus and Ariadne meet at all. It's because Minos was really pissed at Athens and was like, hey, every 7 to 9 years, depending on the myth, I'm going to just send me 14 kids. I'm going to kill them all in my labyrinth and feed them to my illegitimate son. Well, not his son, but my wife's bull son. And so Theseus rolls up and he's like, I volunteered for this. I'm gonna kill the Minotaur. I'm gonna take care of the problem. And then he shows up, no plan. None whatsoever. Nope. No, they don't let him in there with a weapon. He's just like, well. So he's really lucky Ariadne saw his stupid ass and was like, because he didn't even have it like a...
Your beautiful matches my beautiful. We should go together.
Yeah. He didn't even have an Aphrodite up there or an Athena being like, or a Hera telling Aphrodite to be like, hey, make a Medea fall in love with Jason. So no, that was Ariadne made that choice herself. Girl.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I read some a modern version, modern retelling where Cupid did sort of strike Ariadne with whatever, so that was sort of the why she immediately fell in love with him. And that also sort of gave that layer of because in that telling, it was the Minotaur definitely had more of a personality and was more of a little boy. It was sort of he was coded as an autistic kid, but as a half bull. And so it really put some emotional depth into the betrayal of Ariadne to the Minotaur, because it's did she do this on her own volition, or was she not choosing this? It was a really interesting book. I think that was just called Bull, but I don't remember.
Ooh, yeah. That's super interesting, because it is a thing I think I definitely didn't really consider, is that, this is her brother.
Yeah.
The Minotaur is her brother, but it would be interesting if she has any sort of relationship with him whatsoever, because it sounds like...
I doubt it.
Well, when in our Minotaur episode, I think we did talk about that for a while after the Minotaur was born, he was raised in the palace until they determined he was just too vicious. And then they had the labyrinth and kicked him into that.
He kept killing everybody. He did. He was a villain. This was not oh man, he's just too weird to look at. No, he was a villain. He kept killing people. So it's hey, Daedalus, please make this fucking labyrinth.
Listen, Hercules killed a bunch of people too. He killed one of his music teachers as a kid. So I do think
but the music teacher was being a dick to Hercules.
I think aesthetic appeal. Cite yourself. What are you talking? I think aesthetic appeal has something to do with why Hercules got off scot-free and the Minotaur got thrown in a labyrinth, but whatever.
Probably.
Not what this episode is about.
He was also the son of Zeus and not the son of a bull.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Pasiphae is the daughter of Helios, so there was some godly stuff in there.
There is there, and that's why she was able to procreate with a fucking bull.
Is that why? Actually,
is that
sure, why not?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, the gods do that shit all the time. Why not? I love it. Yeah, speaking of, Pasiphae being the daughter of Helios, Titan of the Sun, there is also, Minos being son of Zeus, which
Mhm.
we're just gonna swing back into Percy Jackson a little bit, makes it really, really weird when Hephaestus is on Ogygia talking to Percy and being like, oh yeah, Ariadne, yeah, she's immortal, didn't have a drop of divine blood in her. And it's like, that's not
That's
not
true.
accurate. That's not even just like, oh, you forgot about Pasiphae's. If Pasiphae's like, oh, being like the daughter of Helios, no, it's also Minos is famously a son of Zeus.
Yeah.
He's like a judge in the underworld because he's a son of Zeus. Like,
This is two demigods having a child.
Yes!
Like, this is actually like this is still a demigod in its own right.
like, we know that counts. Like being able, like we know from New Rome and all the legacies
At that time
counts.
in the books, where was it canon?
Oh no, New Rome stuff wasn't like canon. That wasn't there yet.
But yeah, it was at that time in the books. Did like Rick even have the idea of like, okay, if a demigod had a kid, do they inherit some powers, or was that like completely new? I don't think
so.
that was canon yet.
Pardon me.
until New Rome.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know how like the contract went for the Percy Jackson Olympians, but part of me believes he didn't have anything past Lightning Thief until they decided to start making more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I believe it. Like every series, though, like they got nothing past the first bit, and then it's like, oh shit, they want more. Okay, well I'll start making more.
I also he does in the Percy Jackson book so heavily emphasize the fact that like demigods don't live to adulthood.
Yeah, that's true.
What happens to like a child just doesn't even have to be addressed because that just doesn't happen. It's like great mythology, a lot of heroes having kids, so okay, yeah.
Got a lot of heroes living to adulthood.
So I suppose if the rule is you only get the divine blood if you're, but we know that is if one of the parents has to be divine themselves. But we know that technically doesn't work in even the Percy Jackson lore anymore because our good buddy Frank
Octavian.
has shapeshifting powers that come from a distant ancestor who is a child of Poseidon. So
Love Frank. Frank's goated.
Sometimes literally.
Sometimes literally goaded, but
is he ever a goat?
Metaphorically goaded as well. I don't know.
Have you
I wouldn't doubt it.
But it could be. But yeah, it is a baffling statement for Hephaestus to make, and I think somewhat but it's supposed to, like, Rachel Elizabeth Dare is supposed to be like this modern day Ariadne, not just being able to see through the mist, but like the daughter of a wealthy like a evil land business owner, things like that. Developer. God, that's the word I wanted. Land developer. And her whole thing and kind of like not betraying her family, but that stuff. And so that only works if, Ariadne was mortal, but she had the sight. So
yeah.
Now Rachel does it, and that's why you get to the labyrinth. It's just because she was special, you don't just need the string or Daedalus, which I do like. Yeah. Doesn't really work, but okay.
Yeah, it's a good parallel. It's not exactly parallel.
Yeah. It just doesn't quite line up with the text of the myths in Ariadne's like ancestry and legacy, but sure, sure. So she gets the credit for in the myth when Theseus rolls up and she's like, oh, "I love you." The myths are like, okay, so she gives him. Sometimes she actually gives him a weapon to defeat the Minotaur with, like gives him a sword and also the string that sometimes she actually just got from Daedalus.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's like,
love it. Give the little agency that this female character had, and like,
she actually got it from Daedalus,
give it to this other guy.
And it's so.
But like,
go on, DJ.
Is the string like actually magically imbued?
Yeah, I want to talk about that. What did it do exactly?
Because every time somebody's like, oh, he just tied it to the entrance and then followed it back. That's not fucking magic. That is not magic at all.
He didn't use it to find the Minotaur. He just used it to get out.
Yeah, and again, this is just this is a classic labyrinth, which is just a straight line. I get Daedalus is a great inventor. Getting in there eventually, again, with just the string, you'd be able to like, all right, what way am I turned again? I can see the string like that way, so I gotta go this way. Like, this is not
It's not a
any
maze.
magic here.
Yeah, which actually, that fact makes it all the more annoying when storytellers will credit Daedalus with giving her the string to give to Theseus, because why? You could have just had her be like, all right, so you're going to get turned around. I'm just going to give you, just tie it. Sometimes it's like jewels he leaves behind him. I saw one place where they said she gave him jewels to leave in a trail.
These are fucking breadcrumbs, bro. This is Hansel and Gretel. Like, goddamn. This is Greek Hansel and Gretel
It's
here that
Greek
we're listening
Hansel
to.
and Gretel.
We're following.
So it's fun, and that's it. Hey, is the rest of the crew the other Athenians who were supposed to be sacrificed?
Yeah, I
Probably.
think so.
I wouldn't doubt it.
guess.
What happens to them? Yeah. Does
I don't
Theseus
know.
stave everybody in bounds, or
I don't know. I don't think that's ever. I don't think I've ever read an explanation of that. He just has a crew. Just has a boat when he gets out of the maze.
yeah, because
Where
he
did he
goes
go?
under basically like undercover. Like he's got to pretend like he's going with these other sacrifices, and his plan is to does everyone else? Did 13 other Athenians die? And then he kills them in a
I mean, if
toilet?
he's got a crew all of a sudden, then it's probably the 13 other Athenians are his now crew.
I'm sure
I
the
would like
Minotaur
that
got
a
few
lot.
of them. I'm sure Theseus used someone as a human shield in that maze.
Right? I'm sure they swore fealty after getting saved by the Minotaur.
Yes. So yeah. It's just so perplexing when I do love the Labyrinth story. I find it so interesting. But these last couple of episodes are really digging into it, and we're just like, this is ridiculous. This is actually ridiculous. What?
It's not.
And they're all ridiculous. All mythology is ridiculous, but
Do you like it more in Rick's version that the labyrinth changes rather than
I
the
fucking
second
love the
one?
Labyrinth in Rick's version. I think it's sick as shit. Oh my god, it's so
yeah.
fucking cool.
I think it also like
I think it's super dope.
yeah, I mean, it elevates, like, obviously, making it actually magic and literally ever moving rather than just, like, a marvel of architecture. I think it just makes it, like, it's, like, dangerous. It's more,
Yeah.
the threat is higher, and it makes, like, what Ariadne did all the more impressive, and what Rachel is able to do
Mhm.
all the more impressive. It also makes me question, like, it's like, oh, she can see through the mist. So is she seeing just the original layout of the labyrinth, and then the movement
Honestly,
is the magic
fucking
part?
maybe. That's
like,
the,
is that what she
that's
sees?
the best explanation to this shit
That is.
I've ever fucking heard. She's just seeing the original part, and now we know that, like, because the Minotaur is gone, Daedalus's labyrinth is at the center of the, or Daedalus's workshop is at the center of the labyrinth now. So now he's just seeing the original layout, and we know that, like, it grew, like, all. So now, that's the most. That makes sense as to what it actually is going on. Why? I don't know. There's a center, right? Because there's not a center to a maze.
No, the maze you're
There's
trying to
an
get
entrance
from
and an exit.
Yeah, the labyrinth has the center, which makes them like distinctly different in the layout.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, cool.
Okay, I gotta ask, have you guys seen The Labyrinth, starring David Bowie, made by Jim Henson?
I've not.
He has it. No, I
Darian
have.
has.
We talked about it in the
I
last
haven't.
episode. Yes.
I love that movie
He
so
just
much.
has it. He's
I love
lived a
that
very
movie.
different life than me.
Dance, magic,
yeah,
dance. But
do you wanna
that
gush about
has
it for a minute,
something in the
Quinn?
center of the labyrinth. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what. Yeah, I was like, do you want to gush about it for a moment,
I
Quinn?
do.
Like,
I
feel
do.
Like
I just love
explained
that
it, but I
movie.
didn't
Like,
gush.
I just
Please.
feel like the gush came out of me very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, I grew up watching that movie so much. I feel like my sister and I had like a sexual awakening during the song Dance Magic Dance, because there's a really close shot for a children's movie to David Bowie's crotch. Back in
yes,
the days
there
of
is.
VHS, we rewound that all the time. The VHS copy got stuck. It would stop on the crotch.
Oh no.
It knew what you were about, though.
It
so,
did.
Like,
It really, really did.
it's some Black
It was
Mirror shit. The
amazing.
technology knows what you want.
But sort
No,
of
that's
crazy,
excellent.
my niece was home sick today, and my sister made her watch it.
She made her. It wasn't like, here's this. Oh, how old is your niece? Hold on. I'm
She just
interested to
turned
know.
10.
Okay, so this is a very possible moment that The Labyrinth has just become the movie she watches when she's sick for the rest of her life.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I know
you have a sick
my
movie,
sister's tried to make her watch it before, but she's just never had the attention span. But I think
Yeah, she was literally
she had
captive.
to have gotten in. She had to have. Can't not.
No,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Can't
The weird little
it's
glowing
good,
balls.
yeah.
The goblins. I love it. Love that movie.
Puppet. Oh,
Whatever.
It's so good. It's
Labyrinth,
So good.
other kind.
Yes. No, I was like, we gotta talk about the Labyrinth, obviously. But yes, so okay, hold on. I forgot this one thing real quick. So I want to just real quick talk about this is like totally all over the place, but I feel like that's the vibe we're doing today, and I'm really into it. So I hope we will please continue to wander this labyrinth with me. The Percy Jackson fandom Wikipedia.
Oh boy.
It's actually the Riordan wiki. I usually go there just to see, like, all right, what are the references of the characters in the book specifically, so I don't forget anything. They do mention.
Do you have a rival here,
that,
like you do on Kim Possible?
I do now. I'm gonna tell you what I do now, because this is fucking wild. So first of all, one of her aliases listed is Goddess of Labyrinths and Paths, which is not a thing for Ariadne mythologically speaking. But if that's a thing that we've considered canon in the Riordanverse universe, then someone needed to have been praying to Ariadne during the Battle of the Labyrinth book. Okay, so I'm back on that train. But they also, just the early life. So, they have, I don't know who wrote this. I don't know where this comes from. If it's like in one of like the Percy Jackson like Gods and Heroes books, like I don't know where we're citing the source a la within the Percy Jackson thing, because it suggests that Daedalus was imprisoned in the labyrinth before Ariadne left, which is not true, because it says that after Daedalus had been imprisoned, Ariadne snuck into the labyrinth to visit him at least once a week, which I love. Very good, but
that's very
doesn't
cute.
really line up. Very cute. Like, yeah, she taught her math and science. She was his teacher. Really good like relationship they had. Anyway, so the thing I actually...
But we know that he was outside of the labyrinth when, like, Ariadne had turned on Minos, just in general.
Yeah.
Because Minos had to send out that conch puzzle to find Daedalus.
Well,
so he's obviously not in the labyrinth.
Because he flew out on wax wings.
No, that was after.
This is after. The conch puzzle
that's also ridiculous, because was his workshop in the fucking labyrinth at that time?
I don't know. I didn't do data. This is not what it's about. It's a very good question, DJ. Quinn's got a book.
I'm getting a book.
I think here's what I thought order of events was.
It definitely didn't seem like it, because the soldiers are constantly checking on him. If they were in the labyrinth, I doubt the labyrinth would let them get that far.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think they got the order of events wrong. I think it's like Daedalus creates the labyrinth, Ariadne betrays them, Minos blames Daedalus and puts him in the labyrinth. Daedalus and Icarus escapes. Icarus dies. Daedalus solves the little conch puzzle with the ant.
Yeah, but that comes back to the fact that at that time, were they still in the labyrinth, or were they just locked in their workshop? Because again, the labyrinth wouldn't let these people get that far.
Exactly. Quinn, what do you got?
Get to Daedalus' labyrinth in the center.
So, at least Stephen Fry, he puts it, so Ariadne and Theseus escape. Minos wakes up, and Daedalus and Icarus are already imprisoned in the labyrinth, but they are like, they have their wings and they're made, and basically Minos goes to knock on the door to be like, "Where's my daughter, you son of a bitch?" And Daedalus jumps out the window with Icarus, and then they make their flying, fleeting escape.
So in that one, so it would be like Daedalus has been imprisoned before Ariadne took off.
Yes.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. We'll dive in this more. But so the thing I wanted to harp on just on this one is how it talks about.
Why would he be imprisoned before Ariadne took off?
I don't know, DJ. I'm sure
maybe
we'll talk
she
about
can visit.
If the whole reason he was imprisoned because Ariadne betrayed them.
Maybe, I think, hold on. I think Minos imprisons Daedalus because he doesn't want him to tell anybody the secrets of the labyrinth. So he imprisons him so he'll never be able to reveal the secrets.
Sounds right.
I think that actually might be it.
Because
Minos sucks. We also just,
That's insane.
Besides everything else, Minos is unjustifiably just kind of a terrible person. With no reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the thing about the wiki, so fine, that was correct. But this other thing I find is absolutely trippy. So Ariadne gave directions, a sword, and a ball of magic yarn to Theseus so he could find his way through the labyrinth by leaving some stream to follow his way back. After those methods failed him, Ariadne used her ability to see through the mist to guide Theseus through the maze safely, enabling him to slay the Minotaur.
How'd she do that?
I don't know.
She wasn't with
It implies
him.
that she went into the maze herself. How would she know that those methods had failed? Also, if the magic string failed, then why does it work later on? Fandom Wiki, what are we doing here? Where is this
Also,
coming from?
That's not explained at all in the books. Where is that coming from? Just in general,
I don't know. This is what's blowing me wide. So if any of our listeners know, hey, this is from this, please tell me because I'm baffled. Also, it kind of also
it'll
makes
be
me like
one
this more
sentence in one book that it's all
Yes.
of this is based off of.
It'll be in like Percy Jackson Explains book, but he did between Last Olympian and Lost.
That's what I'm saying. Is it
Fill
in
in
the
all the
Heroes book that I do own and never read? I bought it, but I didn't read it. But no, it's like it suggests that Ariadne went into the labyrinth and helped Theseus there, which I'd love. Don't get me wrong. But how would she do that? She wasn't, again, like you said, Quinn, she wasn't with him. How would she know those methods had failed? If the string fails, why do we care about it so much?
Maybe she was at the end or whatever, one at the exit of the labyrinth, holding the end of the string, and Theseus is walking away, and then it drops, and oh no! So she follows it.
She runs in.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that as
and the reason she'd be able to find him is because it's a one-way fucking street.
well, she doesn't get turned around. She can see through the mist, DJ. She's just
Well,
that good.
she can follow the
I
string
know, but I'm
until
just
where
saying.
it's
I'm
dropped.
just saying.
Follows the string. Also, that's true.
And then grabs him and goes, "You dropped the string, you dumbass."
And this is also before the labyrinth became alive.
This is true.
And got its soul of its own.
Right,
This
that's
is
the
when the
thing.
labyrinth was its original form.
Oh my god, I just had a thought, but then I just realized
Tell
it
me.
doesn't work. So
Aw.
I was thinking
Would you like
maybe
to share
what
it
if the Minotaur, his spirit, is the labyrinth, and that's why it moved. And then I realized
actually
that the
would
No,
really
it's
like
Daedalus,
that.
and that's canonical.
Yes, but I like it being
It's
tied
Daedalus,
to the Minotaur.
it's tied to
better.
him, and it's canonical.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
way.
I like
But
it
if
better.
it's tied to the Minotaur,
I think it
then,
makes more
like,
sense about why it'd be
I don't know,
so
we
malicious.
can't have the Minotaur fight Percy.
That's,
I mean, yeah,
that's
it
true.
would. But it's also like, we also know Daedalus is a malicious person. We've seen him. We've seen him be malicious.
True.
This episode's not about Daedalus. It's about Ariadne. Stop it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Just like in the books, Ariadne's not getting any screen time on this podcast episode,
My
Darian.
absolute mission
We're
to
talking
avoid.
about a man now, Darren. We're talking about Daedalus.
Can we talk about Dionysus instead? Quinn, do you want to take the mantle for a little bit and tell us a little bit about the Ariadne Dionysus of it all?
Yeah, Dionysus comes to that island after Theseus dumps her, and then they get married, and she has all of the children in the world.
So many children.
She has 12 children. Hold on. That's just a child a year, give or take, okay?
Oh my god. Maybe there's some twins in there, hopefully.
And this
It could be
this is a godly father. We know something else is going on.
Yeah, and he's the god of, like, grapes or something, so there's probably some fertile.
He's the god of parties. Like, let's get it going.
You know, he's also the god of madness, and one of his pretty prominent stories is that when he was still just immortal, he did turn some sailors into dolphins and drive one completely insane because they tried to kidnap him. So if I was those sailors with Theseus and I had a dream where Dionysus told me to get the fuck out, I would, though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I don't blame
I
him.
feel like
100%.
Dionysus is, like, the scariest of the gods. Like, okay, Zeus will kill you. Dionysus, he will kill you and
Will
feed
maim
you to
you.
your mother. Like,
And then
No,
tell your mother
Zeus will
what
kill
happened.
you. Dionysus will maim you. Like, all right, you will live with battle scars from your encounter
No,
with
that's
Dionysus.
Ares.
You'll just be like, oh shit. No, Ares will kill you outright.
Yeah, okay.
He'll kill you and turn you into his like your own his own personal fucking zombie slave, as we've seen.
yeah.
Do you like in this story? I mean, like and interesting are two different things. But like for you, Quinn, if you were gonna tell this story, do you think it's more interesting for Theseus to be like, "Bye, bitch, you're not useful anymore," or for Dionysus to be like, "No, I want to marry her, get rid of her"? Like, what do you think?
I honestly like it more when Theseus is the one who's just like, ew, she's useless now. rather than Dionysus coming in and scaring everybody away, including Theseus, because it's like, I don't know.
It comes off a little nice guy-ish. I find it more interesting when Dionysus does that, because then it's like red flag, but red's my favorite color. So, It's probably what Ariadne was thinking.
Oh, no, kind of, though.
It's like red flag, red wine, what's going on here?
Oh, dear. Not wrong.
Either way, Dionysus portrays himself to Ariadne as the rescuer. And, when he's the one, I like it more when he's not the cause for the need to be rescued.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think so, too.
I would say I like it more when that happens. I think it's more interesting when he is the cause.
But I think if he is the cause, it also just takes more of Ariadne's agency away, because she's set up, and then
where was the agency in the first one?
She has. That's what I'm saying, DJ. Very little, very little. But now this god is here, and he's already decided that she's going to be my wife, and she's like, well, what the fuck do I get to say in the matter? Whereas if Dionysus is just like, woo, party!
I'm moving my party from this island to this island, and you just happen to be here.
He's like, hey, I'm super drunk right now, and I think I got separated from the rest of my, maniacal, wine ant followers. You're crying, though. That's not... So you're not at my party, because you wouldn't be crying. Are you? Do you need wine? Are you okay? And I like the idea of, hold on, let me finish my thought. I like the idea of, party boy Dionysus having this moment of, oh, someone is sad. Oh, okay, I can be serious for about 60 seconds. Do you want to talk or do you want to drink? I really hope it's the latter. And I like that thought. I find it cute. And give me some cute, damn it. All right, DJ, go.
I will give you...
You'll give me.
Early How I Met Your Mother, Ted Mosby, where Dionysus sees Ariadne on, sees everybody leave her. It's like, all right, I'll set up a party around her so that I could talk to her. Much like how Ted Mosby tried to set up parties to talk to Robert Scherbatsky 4 days in a row.
Ted Mosby, peak and romantic. Yes, that's what... Actually, that would be really funny if Dionysus... He doesn't scare Theseus away, but he knows they're going to be on an island, so he keeps throwing parties on these islands, hoping that Ariadne will just happen to be on the island he's partying on, so he'll meet her then, but he keeps fucking it up. And then finally he's all upset, so he just, the party's not working, he just storms off, and that's when he finds Ariadne, because Theseus is taken off, and he's like, oh shit, I wanted to meet you, but not like this, fuck.
Yeah.
All right, I actually love that.
Very cute, love it.
So...
Dionysus ends up in a crane machine holding a purple giraffe.
He would, though.
And he would like the color purple.
He definitely likes the color purple. Just a little.
That's why he's
on
in the
gin.
crane. That's why he's in the crane machine.
He's
not buzzed on gin. He's out of his gourd on wine, Darian, all the time.
No,
what the fuck?
I need him to be just a little bit sober. Not totally.
He's out of his gourd, and if he's gonna drink anything other than grape wine, it's gonna be rice wine, sake.
I can't argue with that.
He's drinking
And if
wine.
he's not drinking wine, he's drinking grappa, which is the offshoot of wine.
Ooh.
There you go. He's just drinking different kinds of wine all the time.
This is fair. This is fair. How do I pronounce the name of this Greek philosopher? Polarch? Plutarch?
I don't know.
It's Pollock?
I thought Poltarch sounded
spell
right,
it?
but that might just be Poldark.
Spell it for me.
Plutarch.
It's probably like Plutarch.
Oh, Plutarch I like.
That
okay.
one.
I wrote it in the notes. I was like, this is such an interesting thing. And I got so upset when I saw the name. Plutarch. Okay. So this guy, as I said.
It's Plutarch.
Plutarch. Greek philosopher, priest of Apollo. He wrote this whole thing about Theseus from the approach of Theseus as a historical figure. Right?
That's how they normally do it, don't they? They just kind of go at it as an approach of this actually fucking happened.
Not always,
It
but
depends. Yeah. I think there's if we told a King Arthur myth, you get it's the King Arthur, the way the story's told, like, we get that this is it's maybe not a real guy. But there's also the approach where you can approach it as if, well, this was a historical figure. What does that look like?
I would actually compare it to Robin Hood.
Robin Hood is much better. Yeah, Robin Hood is a much better one on that.
I guess that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that. So he wrote this thing, and basically, in this, the reason I bring it up for this, even though it's not about Theseus, but in this work, it's basically suggested that there are two Ariadnes, and one is the mortal woman who helped Theseus with the labyrinth and then ends up getting left on the island for one reason or another. And then the other Ariadne was a some sort of divine goddess who was the one that married Dionysus on that island. But these two were not the same Ariadne.
It's a common name.
It's a common name. Yeah, it might be. I actually have no idea.
No idea.
Sometimes you see a name like, oh, Perseus. You're like, oh, but not that Perseus, though. Oh, okay. Basically, also another thing that was interesting is that in this work, Plutarch cites this Hellenistic mythographer named Paeon of Amathus, whose works are all totally lost because, of course, they are.
Yeah.
And the only reason we even know about them is because Plutarch cited him. I'm assuming him.
Love citations.
You love a citation, though. We have a lot of shit because someone else was citing it. Which is why it's important to cite your sources, everyone. Give credit.
Mhm.
Record thoroughly.
Because you never know when you're going to be the last thing that is the historical record for your entire being.
Take it seriously. I know it's annoying when it's like, oh, this class wants MLA, this class wants APA, this class wants Chicago, this class wants the other Chicago style.
That part doesn't matter. Just the citation.
That part doesn't matter. But the citations really is what we should care about. So basically, this guy was like, listen, so what actually happened was Ariadne was already pregnant, and there was a storm, and Theseus put her on the island for safety while he's repairing the ship, but the storm swept the ship away. And by the time Theseus got back, Ariadne had, like, died in childbirth, and he was so sad and heartbroken.
Sadness.
So he left money, to do sacrifices and resurrect, like, images and epithets for her honor and stuff. And that there was, like, in this area of Cyprus, there was a whole ancient cult of Aphrodite Ariadne that observed these traditions and stuff. And that the local lore of the time was that the tomb of Ariadne was located in this sacred grove to Aphrodite. And that's all well and good, but it once again does take Theseus off the hook.
Yeah.
So I'm over it. Meanwhile, Plutarch's like, that's all nice. Actually, Ariadne definitely hung herself in a tree after being abandoned by Theseus. Thanks, man.
Thank you for that.
That's what we wanted too.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. So he was just really intent on the, no, actually, she didn't go and marry Dionysus and then get to be a goddess later. Because why would you let this woman have anything nice, I guess?
Little goofy.
So, as Quinn mentioned earlier, once Ariadne dies, Dionysus swings down to the underworld and is like, I think I'm going to get my wife back. I think I'm going to pick up my mom while I'm here too.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Pick up my mother-in-law.
No, it's no. So
Yeah.
It's
his mom. Yeah,
I might have read that wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
No.
his mom.
Yeah.
yeah, because his mother-in-law would have been Pasiphae,
Okay.
which is fun to think about, actually.
Yeah. The question of what happened to Pasiphae after this whole story. Though.
Father-in-law? Pff, no.
Oh, I'm so excited to do Pasiphae in the future because one,
Does she show up in like any of the books?
I did once foolishly say that Pasiphae was not in the books, forgetting that she's the one in House of Hades who brought the Labyrinth back.
Yeah, she's barely there.
She's barely. She's like the secret, like big bad evil, and then at the very last couple chapters, it's revealed I'm Pasiphae, and that's all well and good.
Oh, she was working with the Giant of Shadows.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's all well and good, and I'm actually very into that. She also gets more screen time than Ariadne.
Yes.
Who is, I would say, more directly associated with the Labyrinth itself.
I'm a big fan of Medea returning in what is
Trial.
it?
Oh, Burning Maze?
In Burning Maze, and the labyrinth being actually open.
No, that's rad. Actually, and I'm really glad that
being genuine open, not open. Be like, oh, I know the magic that the labyrinth used, which is what Pasiphae was kind
Yeah.
of doing.
Yeah. No,
Right. She like the labyrinth fucking genuinely opened up with this
No.
the whole Trials of
It
Apollo
was
shit,
cool.
and I was into that.
It was cool. And I like that Rick did a better job with Medea because I felt like she was really wasted initially when she just ran a Macy's.
I'm running a department store.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that? She's Medea. Like,
I'm running the Greek Macy's. Do you need fun perfumes, battle armor, chariots? I got some killer slacks for you, Jason.
why did you do this to Circe and then Medea? Like, you did the same thing.
Was it just
Fuck you.
for the Medea Macy's comparison?
Maybe.
But like Circe makes more sense as to like her way, like
Well,
the way that he did Circe's makes more sense for Circe. What he did to Medea makes no sense.
it doesn't. That's true. I will give it makes in, child.
Like, to modernize what Circe's is going for from the Odyssey to
No,
now, right?
that's-
A
yeah.
spa island makes sense.
I'll give you that. And the women on there seem like they're having a lot of fun, and I do appreciate that.
I love the guinea pigs part of it.
The guinea pigs are good.
It was goofy. I love the fact that the guinea pigs that were in there were in fact Blackbeard and his
Pirates,
crew.
though. I don't.
That was so funny.
It is funny until you think about. Okay, so you left pirates just ravaging this island of women.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
then it's
Renya.
like,
We didn't
you
think
find
about that
out,
until we met
Renya
Renya.
conquered the pirates and became their captain, though.
I do love pirate Captain Renya and her sister, whose name always escapes me.
It's something with an H.
Hilda. It's Hilda.
What? Hilla?
Mm,
Hella?
it
It's
is
Hilda.
Hilda?
Hilla.
That doesn't sound
No,
right.
Hilla.
I'm pretty sure it's Hilda.
Yeah, Hilla twice killed.
Okay.
No, twice killed, not killed. She survived those fights.
PJO's sister. Yeah, it's Hilda.
Okay.
Is it?
HYLLA.
Are the LLs pronounced differently?
I mean,
Haya?
listening to it, they said Hilla.
Okay, I just wonder
It's
because her
also
family's
not
from
a-
Puerto Rico, so I wasn't sure.
I guess that's fair, maybe. But it's all like, I don't know, it's
Well, you
Puerto Rico, but they
DJ
also know they
listens-
had Greek roots.
DJ listens to the audiobooks, so that's what we go off of here.
Yeah, they say Hilla in the audiobook.
I don't know, but one of the audiobooks says Thalia instead of Talia, and I reject that.
I hate that. Object.
Here's the thing.
No.
Don't you dare
I read it as
defend
Thalia
it.
too.
Wrong.
I read it as Thalia.
You could
bro.
also read it as
I
Hermione.
did,
It's still
100%.
wrong.
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying. I understand where it comes from, and I'm not both are fine. But I've also seen Talia spelt without the fucking H. So
I don't know what to tell you.
I've also seen Talia spelled TALIYAH. So
Well, that's some
Spellings
Ashley with
don't
the
matter.
GH
It's how you
bullshit.
pronounce it, and I pronounce
how you
it
say it.
Talia.
just saying. I'm just saying. Not everybody read THALIA and thought Thalia.
Ariadne's just not in this episode.
Or thought Talia. I thought Thalia.
Okay.
So Ariadne was killed by Perseus. Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Like Dionysus and Perseus get into
I had
it.
never heard of this until I saw you this summed up in the document. It's like, what?
Yeah. I was like, no, there's and this is apparently it was a really, in mythology, it's like a long ass thing where there's a bunch of different, writers who dove into this and talk. And I will have to get into this proper at some other point in time.
Mhm.
But, for whatever reason, Dionysus and Perseus get into it. And Perseus kills Ariadne with the head of Medusa. He turns her to stone.
Fuck it up, bro. Let's go. I love.
I thought Perseus happened far, far, far before
Yes!
Dionysus. Or not Dionysus. Well, yeah, Dionysus. I don't
Yeah,
even think-
Dionysus.
And
But
Theseus. And
Yeah.
Daedalus. All of them. I thought Perseus was one of the first heroes. I don't know. I feel like that doesn't work with timeline. But who knows? I'm not an expert.
It's I know. I would like to be. Someone tell me about a program I could get into. I want to get to better degree. So the point I'm trying to make is, and I just read that and it was honestly, it felt like I was reading a plot synopsis for season 6 of Once Upon a Time, just like a mid-season episode, where all of a
That's
sudden
mean.
you're
That's
heroes
a
doing
little mean.
Just
Yeah.
insane.
No, but it did.
Oh, I bet you didn't see this one coming, huh, fans? Huh? I bet you didn't see it
Perseus
coming.
shows up with the head
You
of-
fucking jackasses guessing my plot line halfway through the series. Go fuck yourselves. How about this twist?
Basically, so Perseus just
Hey,
shows
man,
up with
that
the head
doesn't
of...
make your writing good.
So that's what it felt like to me, is that all of a sudden you just have these two stories that are not related, but now Perseus is here with the head of Medusa, and he kills Dionysus' wife. And that's when I really did have to double check, and I was like, oh no, this is just a thing that happened in mythology, in this era of these stories. So I could make fun of the kind of nonsense that was going on in Once Upon a Time, but like, no, that's what was, they were about these classical, these high stories. This was happening from the get-go. We've been doing this in Western storytelling for so long. I can make fun of Once Upon a Time. I run a Once Upon a Time podcast. I'm not being mean, I'm being right.
I wouldn't doubt if this happened outside of Western.
Oh, I'm
storytelling.
sure.
We just don't know anything outside of Western storytelling.
So when I say, I don't want to always say storytelling, because I'm sure there are other cultures where they're like, that never happened. We never pulled that shit. So I just have to stay in my lane, and I'm good in there. I can drive there very well. And so there are other ways she died depending on the myths, old age, sometimes childbirth, different things like that. It always ends with Dionysus going down and then her being on Olympus, like, oh, she's immortal now.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to know, okay, what's Ariadne the goddess of? Right? She's there now. She's on Mount Olympus. She's immortal.
You don't have to be immortal to be a goddess.
You definitely have to be immortal to be a goddess.
Or you don't have to be a goddess.
I guess let me.
Immortal?
You don't have to be a goddess to be immortal.
Yes.
Let me flip that around.
I would say yes.
You don't have to, because there are plenty of examples we see throughout the books of people just becoming immortal
Polycrestes.
and not being a god of
My
something.
boy.
That motherfucker.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, like
Hold
everybody who was revived, technically speaking.
Speaking of
right?
old Krusty, Percy fucking Jackson, who pulls poor Crustius out of his ass while his friends are being tortured on mattresses.
I love the poor Krusty scenes. It's so brutal. I love it.
It's so fucking wild. And then
great.
he's
I
at this
love
party and looks at this woman with Dionysus and doesn't think, that's Ariadne. He just thinks, what a pretty lady.
Yeah. That's what
Really?
he thinks when he sees most ladies.
That's on Chiron though. That's on Chiron. Chiron not teaching him.
You know, that's fair. We
yeah.
can blame Chiron. I don't mind that.
That's on Chiron. Chiron's the one who taught him everything he knew about the
No,
Greek
he
mythology,
isn't.
so-
Annabeth is.
I'm talking
Annabeth does a lot
about
more.
at this point in the series. At this point in the series, when they've only really talked during the summer, very briefly.
True.
Crustius.
Chiron's the one who taught him everything.
And there are some gaps. Mister, I didn't know that
It was
Athena
teaching him
was
the Latin
goddess.
version, right? Because he was in Latin class, so he shouldn't have been learning.
He was
Greek
in Latin,
mythology
but
at
I'm
all.
certain he was teaching Greek
That's
mythology.
we've talked about this. It's
He
like
was
he's-
teaching Latin, okay?
Yeah.
But this is a point. This is probably a school where the teachers don't know the difference between Greek and Latin.
It's a really
And this
fancy
is
private school. I think it
Chiron.
is, DJ.
This is a boarding school where they hate their students.
This is fair. This is fair. They're all problem kids. Air quotes, air quotes, air quotes. So I couldn't find where post deification. Okay, so Ganymede was a prince that Zeus is like, I'd hit that, and so he like turns an eagle and scoops him up and brings him up to Olympus, and so now Ganymede is an immortal. He's the cupbearer. So is he a god?
That's not a
Yeah,
god, though.
I don't think
That's not a
that
god.
means
He's just a
that,
cupbearer.
like, when I'm bearing cups, I make a prayer to.
I'm the god of cupbearers, bro.
He's
like, let's
Aquarius.
get it. Like,
Here is my cup. Ganymede, please make sure I do not spill.
Quinn, your cup is like the baby version of my cup. It's got
Cheers.
the lines. Cheers.
Water.
Thank you, Ganymede.
I got Darian's Maleficent.
Yeah, you keep using my cups.
I keep snagging
What
your
else?
cups.
What else is on there?
They're
Do you
good,
have
fun
Hal?
cups.
Is Hal also on your desk?
Oh no, I probably at some point, but I just returned a lot of cups. Only cup I got right now is an Overwatch
Well, you got
cup.
Claire's Overwatch cups too. Wash those. Okay. No, I guess I was thinking Ganymede, but in my head, I always thought Ganymede was made like the god of cupbearers, which is ridiculous, but also is a thing I believe would totally be real. But now that we're discussing it, okay, so Ariadne is up here. That bums me out. I do want her to be a goddess of something.
Nope, women can't have jobs.
goddess? No.
I don't know what you're talking about. Megara is the goddess of. Oh God, what did they make her
What
the
was she
goddess
goddess of? It was a really tight. It wasn't asking. It was asking.
It was
for
very
help.
sweet. It was like asking for help and like self-reliance or something like that.
This is a reference to the Disney Twisted Tale
Go the distance.
Go the distance. Quinn, you may not be familiar with the works. This takes place immediately at the end of Hercules, the Disney animated masterpiece from 1995.
Yeah, so instead of letting Hercules stay down with Megara, Zeus is like, no, you're not allowed to do that.
You have to be a god.
Gotta stay. You have to be a god. You have to stay up here. And so then Megara, who wants to stay with Hercules.
Wait, so Hercules has to stay on Earth and
No. He has to stay in Olympus because Zeus isn't allowing him to stay with Megara.
He doesn't get to be like, I want to stay with her. So
he does not get that.
But
choice.
Hera looks over and's like, hey, do you really love my son? And Megara's like, love is a strong word, but maybe. She's like, okay, here are my tasks 3. If you complete them, you can be a goddess.
I love Disney Hera. She's the best.
I do like Disney Hera. We will talk about her in a few episodes. But yes, so that's what DJ is referring to there. Listeners, you can definitely listen to that even if you're not on Patreon because we released that for our birthday month last month. It's on the main feed.
We did.
Woo!
I gotta go back and listen to it.
Poor Ariadne! So I wanted to know what she was the goddess of, and I really couldn't find anything about Ariadne post-marrying or post-dying, coming back in Olympus. So I think y'all are right. It's a Ganymede thing. She's just immortal living up on there with Dionysus' mom, which I love. But as I was digging into this, Robert Graves makes another appearance. Now, Quinn, I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Robert Graves.
I am. What are your feelings, though? Tell me.
You know what? He clearly had a passion, and I respect the passion, but everything else about this man was a hot mess of an English man from the 1800s. This Victorian mess. Well, not really Victorian. He lived till the 70s.
Let's get it.
But wild. But we first discovered Mr. Graves' work in our Impusa episode, where he had just the most amazing backstory about the Impusa, first being a goddess who tried to feed on a young man who turned out to be Zeus, so he killed her. Wild. Now he had a theory. Now the reason he's here with us today is because he had a theory in which Ariadne was actually, what was it? A great goddess of Crete. Essentially, the idea of the great goddess is this archetype of this like supreme goddess, not even like grander than Mother Nature, essentially. This like ultimate, like not even like the triple goddess, but like this pre like archaic idea of like, oh, they worshipped the great goddess. That was what he meant, not just like, oh, cool goddess, but like supreme type goddess level.
Yeah.
So sort of like how Athena with Athens?
Yeah. Yes, except I think when, just based on my understanding of Graves' beliefs and writings, it's not just like Athens was like, fuck yeah, we love Athena. It would be like if Athens was like Athena and only Athena. We don't recognize Zeus. We don't recognize any other gods.
Oh, okay.
This was like pre that. She represented not just like we love her instead, but it was like, oh, she's before all these other ones came in and invaded like Crete. She was like this Minoan goddess. Another gentleman, Professor Barry Powell, said that she was a snake goddess of Minoan Crete, which is fun, and maybe he was basing just off the fact that labyrinths are all twisty.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes underground, like a snake. There's not really a lot of text to support these gentlemen's theories. But
they had feelings, and they needed to write them.
They had theories based off of wild interpretations of linguistics, oftentimes, or certain translations of epitaphs. And you know what?
They did the work. Good job.
They did good job. You know
it's
what?
Complete.
Yeah. So when you tell your friends about it later, please don't be like, oh yeah, fun fact. Originally, Ariadne was a snake. No, I don't think that's not a thing. I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was an interesting thing that exists, but not a thing. But I was like, this is what she was a goddess of. So, points to the Rick Riordan wiki for saying she was at least the goddess of labyrinths and paths, because at least that was something.
Again, no idea where they pulled that from, but it's something, I suppose.
Yep.
Sort of. So on the subject of Robert Graves, I'm pretty sure my copy of whatever his book is, the introduction is by Rick Riordan.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I'll have to check, but I'm pretty darn sure.
That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, no, Graves is just rewriting myths, which is all fun, but he was definitely presenting him as like, but this is what really happened. And I'm like, my guy, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah. Citations, please.
Yeah. Citations, please. Citations for this imposi stuff you're talking about. I don't see any.
Remyth episode, maybe?
Ooh,
Who's to say? Probably.
That'd be fun. So, yeah. And now, I believe we have reached the portion of the episode in which we talk about Ariadne and pop culture.
Oh boy. Yeah.
No. Yep.
I feel like there is a new book. There's a book that came out that's called Ariadne. I have not read it. I haven't heard great
damn it, Quinn. I was really hoping you would have read it. I was really banking on surely Quinn has read this one. Because I haven't read it yet either. I meant to.
I haven't heard overly positive things, but I haven't heard overly negative things. But it's not on the same level of Circe, I have heard. So...
Yes, that makes
But
sense.
that's a hard bar to reach.
Yep, Circe, which is, I believe, sitting behind me on my room bookshelf, staring at me, where it has been since my birthday, February 2019.
Oh, boy.
Oops.
One day you'll get to it.
It happened.
One day. I'll do better next year. So, that's the thing about Ariadne, right, is that retellings, there are quite a few. Not a lot. Quite a few. I was really wanting to see her more in, like, what is this archetype?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, what has she been in and what does, like, she do? And for one interesting thing, if you go on Wikipedia and you scroll all the way down and look at, like, pop culture references, it is divided into two subcategories, musical references and non-musical references.
That's so weird.
Which is fascinating. Ariadne has been used as a theme in a lot of music for a long time. So that was very interesting to learn.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because, like, the name rhymes with things. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not a musician. I would be interested to know.
Probably talking about, like, people lost and they have their Ariadne to guide them out.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, what is it about Ariadne that inspires musician? It sounds like that. That sounds real.
It sounds
musicians, let us know.
It's almost like the, like, I don't know, almost a positive version of, I almost said Oedipus. Who am I thinking of?
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Leading out of the underworld. Oh, not Odysseus. Orpheus. The other
Orpheus.
one.
Yeah, it's the other one. Yes, Orpheus, because, like, with Ariadne.
Not the mom fucker.
Not that one.
Yes, not that one. Because, yeah, that's a good point. Because it actually, Ariadne, that ends well for Theseus, at least.
Yeah.
Long term, not so much of a... Well, actually, things I would say do work out for Ariadne pretty well, all things considered.
Oh, yeah.
At the initial end of the story, as long as you don't
Initial end of that one. Well, even if you keep reading, it's like, you abandoned her. That sucks. Oh, but Dionysus is here. Oh, but she died because of Perseus. Oh, but she's on Olympus now. So, like...
Hey. Oh, but she's with her mother-in-law.
But maybe they get along.
Maybe, but who's to say, right? Maybe Dionysus' mom is actually thinking that he's way better than this mortal chick and is constantly kind of like, negging her a little bit.
Oh, you'd hate to see that. That seems to...
That'd be so sad.
Yeah, well,
for
that'd
eternity.
be so sad. I don't think so.
Negged by your
just
mother.
forever, and they have to live together. They just live at Dionysus' house, and she's like, what the fuck?
I'm so glad you're eating again, Ariadne.
No, it's just those mean comments. No, okay.
Ariadne, would you like some string? I heard you had a boyfriend before my boy.
It's like, yeah, a lot of people do, actually, Simile. It's pretty common, Simile. Yeah, I did. You know what I didn't do, Simile? Asked to see
Your hair's looking
godly
less
form.
stringy today, Ariadne.
Yeah, Simile,
really
make sure you
fucking
wear some
the
sunscreen.
most
You wouldn't want to get burned.
Just the most backhanded of compliments, just constantly.
No, I don't like it. Makes me sad. I want good things for Ariadne, and I don't know why. I don't know why I have become so... It's because there's nothing there, so I'm projecting onto Ariadne so hard. It's like there's nothing about her. I know nothing. So I just want good things for her so badly. Should discuss this with my therapist, probably. Okay. So beyond the book that we have not read, does anybody have any sort of like vaguely area? Because there's a list and we could read through the list, but like that's, I feel like, not super fun if like we as the, ones on the episode being entertainers don't have can't suddenly gush over a la the Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Sarah has no Ariadne in the Labyrinth.
I think so. There's a show called Atlantis. It's like a
yes,
weird.
let's talk about Atlantis. I haven't watched it, but I just learned about it researching this.
I have not.
We will watch it. I'm going to watch it.
nowhere near finishing it. I've only watched, I don't know, probably 8 episodes, which is far too many.
Oh no.
It's a fun watch. It's definitely fun. But Ariadne is in there, and it's more. They do like build a romance a bit more between her and. It's not Theseus. It's
It's Jason.
Transplant. Yeah, it's Jason. That's what it is.
Because I know this because I was like scrolling down, all right, Ariadne, and I found Ariadne. He's like, in the BBC series Atlantis, Ariadne, and then I saw Jason, and I'm like, why would you just do Jason? Like, why implant Jason into this Atlantis story with Ariadne? Why not just do Theseus? What is this about? I look it up. It's because Jason is actually from the modern day. He's a submarine driver who stumbles upon the lost city of Atlantis with all these myths.
And his father is from Atlantis originally.
Oh, twist. So, yeah, it's wild. There's a bunch of stuff.
Well, thanks for the spoilers, Quinn.
I don't know. I've never met his father. I just like, yeah. They've just mentioned his father many times, and that's my theory.
Oh, well, is that you trying to cover up the fact that you just spoiled the series for hundreds of people?
Oh, no, it's a 10-year-old series. What have I done?
I could spoil the series because I went through and read the description of every single episode.
Love
Ridiculous.
One example of an Ariadne that I actually have encountered, but absolutely did not click with it until I was reading it on this list, Elliot Page's character in Inception, who actually designs the dream levels.
Oh.
Their name is actually Ariadne.
Oh, nice.
Which I thought was very interesting. All right, Nolan, I'll give you that. I liked that.
Do they have a string?
That's fine. I don't know, maybe. Probably, because they all have to have those totems, right? So maybe theirs was a string of some sort of ball of yarn.
To spin the
They
top.
crochet. I don't remember seeing the character like doing like a cross stitch, but that would have been really charming, actually. The string on the top. Let her rip! Just Beyblade.
Well, the top is to signify that you're still in the dream.
I have no
right?
idea. I've not watched it.
If you see a spinning top, I'm pretty sure that like
if it's
because the point of the end of the movie, it like pans over to a spinning top, and it stops.
No, you don't see it stop or not. He walks
that's
away
right.
because if it spins and it keeps spinning, it means he's streaming. If it wobbles, it means he's awake because it's a real top.
A real top.
He walks away because he decides it doesn't matter. I'm with my family. It actually super does, dude, because your kids would probably really fucking like to have their dad, which means you need to make sure you're actually fucking awake. Not what this episode is about, but what else is new. So,
I mean, you brought up Inception. It's a labyrinth of dreams, Darian. And we're talking about the character Ariadne.
I feel so attacked. So since we don't have a lot of and while there are some, but we don't have a lot of our firsthand experience of Ariadne's to work with, I wanted to open the door a little bit to be like, as DJ said, this forgotten character, as we've discussed this whole time, this character who's only defined by her relationship with like mostly 2 men. So like, if we were going to do an Ariadne story, set at any time, modern, whatever, retelling, what elements do you think make her Ariadne? Like this character that we arguably don't know a lot about, how would you recognize her?
She has to betray her brother at some point.
Ooh.
Is that a core defining character trait of Ariadne that you would put in? For me, I would just be like the character that has to lead the hero out of being lost of something.
That's easier.
That's Ariadne's core,
But
in my opinion.
I think that's fair, but I think that also just like we'll also like take this character and divine it to the service she provides to another character, regardless of like gender or anything
right?
like that.
But it's still just like,
But like her character herself, if we're just following her story,
what character does Ariadne have? What
exactly,
are her
she
character traits?
doesn't
inventing
have
them.
them, so we get to invent them. What do we want them to be?
That's what we're doing? You got to explain that better.
I thought I did. Quinn
I
understood
got
the
it. I got
assignments.
it. That's what we do in Monsterous Woman all the time.
Yeah.
Make that
I
shit
know who
up.
we have. I'm utilizing our guest strengths. But I think
ridiculous.
No, I think both are true. DJ, I think you have a good point. Like Ariadne, the thing about Ariadne is that she has the capability, the resources, the skill to lead the hero out of a very dangerous situation. But I also think Quinn's right in that she does so at the expense of pre-existing personal relationships. Like she was making a choice.
At the very least, she betrays her father and her mother.
Yeah.
If we don't want to consider the Minotaur her brother.
Which I would like to. I think that would make an interesting complication to it. But the betrayal of family, I think, is the big one.
And then she's betrayed in turn.
Yes!
Yeah, I don't know if Ariadne would consider Ariadne her brother, though.
No, that's true, yeah.
And so I don't know if she was taking the Minotaur into consideration for this.
Yeah.
Obviously, given the fact that she's sending it to its death, apparently, like, essentially.
Yeah, I think, honestly, those are the two big ones. I'm trying to figure out, like, if, like, post the Theseus thing, like, what happens to Ariadne and Israel. It's just, Dionysus has found her and she's so sad. I think she'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
This crying. She can cry and also, like, yell in rage and kick sand.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't get so, like, I don't know. I guess I like it when women get to be justifiably angry.
Yeah.
So I think if I was doing an Ariadne, I think she'd be kind of pissed. Also angry about, like, maybe the way her teacher Daedalus was treated. Maybe she's actually angry with the way the Minotaur is treated, but there's no life for him out there.
Ooh, and what if that gives her a connection to Dionysus? Because he's the god of madness. So she's mad.
Yeah.
But it's a different
She's
different
mad.
kind of
That's a
mad.
different type
No,
of
but that
madness.
actually would be interesting. Because, like, what does that do to a person? Like, to their mental health, to see the way, like, King Minos ran his kingdom, to see these young Athenians, like, people who are, like, her age or younger, sent to their death so many times.
If she's raised with it, she's not going to think twice about it.
But maybe
But
she
she
does.
had to, or else she wouldn't have saved Theseus.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's also like she fell in love with Theseus, right? If she didn't fall in love with Theseus, she wouldn't have thought twice about
She
it.
fell in love with Theseus upon first sight. There are definitely some underlying issues this woman is dealing with. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that this
so
kind of
it's
instant
like-
love is a symbol of mental illness, but I'm saying you could argue that perhaps
She's looking for a way out.
she's looking for a way out, and she could tell that Theseus is like, he's not cowering fear like the rest of them. He's my way out. And then he turns on her, and she's like, trust issues.
Or
I don't know about this
you
shit
could
anymore.
go, Cupid came along, or Aphrodite came along and said, all right, I like Theseus. I need him to survive this, so I need her to fall in love with him. And forced that upon her.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's interesting because, like, I think in, like, you know, Eros is the god of, like, love. He hits you with your arrow and you fall in love. I think you could also frame that as, like, it's totally natural. It doesn't necessarily mean the gods are meddling. It just, Eros is behind all love.
Eros is just doing his
He's
fucking job.
Dispersing love at random.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like, oh, you're being forced to love Theseus because you need to save him because he's the hero, but more just like she fell in love. Whereas if Aphrodite meddles or if Athena meddles, then it's like you've been forced to fall in love to save the hero rather than just, love happens sometimes and you really don't see it coming and it's kind of fucking inconvenient, isn't it?
Yep.
So yeah, I like that a lot too. So Ariadne and Medea have really similar stories, except because Medea was magic and really did just carry the Argonauts on their way back home, she got to stick around for longer. Whereas Ariadne really had one trick up her sleeve. That was Labyrinth.
Ariadne gave a string that we're not even certain is magic.
Here's some rope.
Ariadne went to the general store and saw, oh, this helps people. This helps, like, guide things. So let's get, like, a bulk
She
order of
actually had,
this.
like, a bunch she'd picked up at Michael's, just impulse buying because they're cute. She's like, I actually have never used this shade of purple, so you can
Please
have
just take it
this."
off of me.
We all picture it as red, though, right?
It's purple because it's magic.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
totally.
I mean, I pictured it as, like, literally a ball of twine.
Oh, twine? Oh, I definitely picture it as
Yeah,
red.
like cooking twine.
That's
No,
probably
for me,
what-
it was just like cooking twine. I don't know. Why?
What do you think?
know,
Yeah,
it's
I
weird.
definitely
string.
pictured just like a white ball of string.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I definitely picture like red thread because maybe you know fate's
Maybe it's like
connected to
red on
things
the
by red
ends.
thread.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, when they were describing it as magic, it was literally just a glowing ball of twine. in my
Yes.
mind.
No, that's fair. In the book, it is
Like,
probably
that's
just like
straight up is all it is.
that makes sense. Okay, I think I don't know. I feel like I feel like I've let Ariadne down by not being like, here's this groundbreaking thing that's just, but that's sometimes
unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, this is just when you decide, I want to talk about mythology, sometimes when you decide, I want to talk about women in mythology, this is what you get.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read Ariadne, and I don't know. Maybe, DJ, when I write that, the nymphs, about the star nymph story, Ariadne's also going to be in it. So she'll get to do things, too, outside of Theseus or Dionysus.
Right on.
All right. Well, Quinn, hey, thank you so much for being on. This is a delight.
Thank you for having me.
This is so fun. Tell the listeners where they can find you on the internet.
You can follow Monsterous Woman Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Listen to the podcast where you listen to them. You can also follow us on Instagram, Monsterous Woman Pod. If you want me personally, I don't know why.
Which you should.
But I do embroidery. It's really weird.
Speaking of strings.
String, yeah. And you can find it on Instagram. It's called On Quins and Needles.
And it's such a good name. Such a good name. I
don't remember who came up with it, but it was definitely someone from the Percy Jackson podcast or Discord.
That's so good.
Nice.
Links to everything that Quinn does in Monstrous Woman Pod, there will be in the links in the show notes. Find them there. It's so good. I've been on a couple episodes.
You have. Listen to those episodes.
Yeah, if you need a reason to ease in, listen to the familiar one, and then you'll decide, but Quinn and Megan are just so cool. I need more of them, and then listen to all of them. There's tons of voices that you will be already familiar with, I'm sure.
Come scream about Professor Umbridge with us.
Yes. Awesome. And then, obviously for us, you get more Muse of Mythology on Instagram. Instagram mostly. Let's say Twitter. Instagram, or you can get Muses of Mythology every single week by supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology. We recommend doing it before December because there will be big things coming again.
Ooh.
Hint, nudge, nudge. We'll tell you more later. It'll be it's going to be a spirited endeavor, I think.
I feel like keywords were said.
No keywords were said, actually.
Yes,
As a matter of fact. Not a damn thing was said in that thing that relates to what the fuck we're going to do.
But Quinn, thank you again for being on. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. We will be back in your ears on Tuesday, December 6th to talk about Theseus. But until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Ew, who would be?
Muse of Mythology is created and hosted by Darren and DJ Smart. It's edited by Darren Smart. The show is produced by Darren and DJ Smart, as well as
Tim O'Connor.
The Crystal Con Man.
Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain. And our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology. Or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.